a registered sex offender who made a fortune as a hedge fund manager in the 1980s and 90s, known for his lavish lifestyle and high-profile connections. Jeffrey Epstein is facing new allegations that he exploited dozens of young girls for sex.
Victims were given cash payments if they could bring other underage girls to be similarly abused. And that's how he continued to expand the number of new victims that he had.
It's the latest in a decades-old saga that's been held up as an example of how powerful, rich men avoid accountability. So, who is Jeffrey Epstein? The 66-year-old was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. In his early 20s, he taught physics and math at the Dalton School, an elite Manhattan prep school. Connections he made there got him a job at the investment bank firm Bear Stearns. He then went on to open his own finance firm in 1982. And that's where he amassed his fortune. His firm reportedly only accepted clients worth $1 billion or more. Epstein tried to lead a private life, but his work managing the money of the very wealthy got him into some very high-profile social circles. He became friendly with former President Bill Clinton and current President Donald Trump, also Britain's Prince Andrew. Epstein has 6 residences, including an entire private island in the Caribbean and this $56 million mansion. The 7-story house is one of the largest private residences in Manhattan. These recent charges include allegations he sexually abused underage girls from 2002 to 2005 inside his Manhattan and Palm Beach homes. When he faced similar allegations a decade ago, federal prosecutors in Florida struck a secret plea deal with Epstein. He avoided a possible life sentence in prison and spent 13 months in Palm Beach jail, where he was allowed to leave for work 6 days a week. That 2008 plea deal was negotiated in part by Trump's current labor secretary, Alexander Acosta, who was then the top federal prosecutor in Miami. Now, prosecutors and investigators are seeking to hold Epstein without bail and have appealed for other victims to come forward.
Your bravery might just empower others to speak out about crimes committed against them. It's important to remember there never was, nor will there be, an excuse for this kind of behavior.
Epstein could face up to 45 years in prison.
Mystery and mystique as to how this happened. How was Jeffrey Epstein allowed to kill himself in one of the world's most secure facilities? This is the place that El Chapo was being held, okay? Like the billionaire drug dealer couldn't get out of this place. And somehow Jeffrey Epstein is able to hang himself with no surveillance.
Jeffrey Epstein's shadowy empire of influence concealed some of the most sinister secrets of our time. Behind the headlines and the trials lies a deeper, more disturbing narrative, one that the FBI appears to be guarding with an ironclad veil of secrecy. While Epstein's demise in a jail cell might have silenced one chapter of this sordid saga, it has ignited countless questions about the extent of his web of connections, the identities of those involved, and the depths of their illicit activities. In this exposé, we will uncover 10 things that the FBI may not want you to know about Jeffrey Epstein. The true nature of his death. In 2007, Jeffrey Epstein faced federal charges for his heinous crimes. The world watched as the case unfolded, expecting justice to be served. However, what transpired next shocked and outraged many. Epstein managed to strike a highly controversial plea deal that would forever tarnish the reputation of the justice system. The orchestrator of this deal was none other than Alexander Acosta, the U.S. attorney at the time. Instead of facing federal charges that could have resulted in a lengthy prison sentence, Epstein pleaded guilty to lesser state charges, including solicitation of prostitution and procurement of minors for prostitution. This lenient sentence was a slap in the face to the victims and raised serious questions about the fairness of the justice system. But the injustice didn't end there. Epstein's plea deal allowed him to serve just 13 months in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Jail. This so-called sentence included a work release program that allowed him to leave the jail for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. This level of leniency was unprecedented and left many wondering how someone with such wealth and connections could receive such preferential treatment. The plea deal also included a non-prosecution agreement, which granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators involved in Epstein's crimes. This meant that not only did Epstein receive a light sentence, but his wealthy and influential associates were also shielded from facing any legal consequences for their involvement. This aspect of the plea deal raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about who else may have been involved in Epstein's criminal activities. The controversy surrounding the plea deal only intensified when it was revealed that Acosta had failed to inform Epstein's victims about the agreement. This lack of transparency and disregard for the rights of the victims further eroded public trust in the justice system. The lenient sentence and the non-prosecution agreement sparked outrage and led to calls for accountability. Many questioned how such a high-profile case could result in such a miscarriage of justice. The public demanded answers and accountability for those involved in securing this controversial plea deal. In 2019, a federal judge ruled that the non-prosecution agreement violated the rights of Epstein's victims. This ruling opened the door for further investigations and potential charges against Epstein's co-conspirators. However, while awaiting trial, Jeffrey Epstein died on August 10, 2019. The circumstances surrounding his demise have been the subject of intense speculation and controversy. Was it suicide, homicide, or something even more sinister? Let's explore the theories and the puzzling details surrounding Epstein's death. The official cause of death, as ruled by the medical examiner, was suicide by hanging. According to the official narrative, Epstein used a bedsheet to hang himself in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City. However, this conclusion has been met with widespread skepticism and disbelief. Many find it hard to believe that Epstein, who was under suicide watch at the time, could have successfully taken his own life. Suicide watch is a precautionary measure implemented for individuals deemed at risk of self-harm. It involves constant monitoring and heightened security measures to prevent any attempts. The fact that Epstein was able to carry out such an act while under this level of supervision raises serious questions about the competence and integrity of the prison system. The circumstances surrounding Epstein's death become even more suspicious when we consider the alleged lack of proper monitoring by the prison guards on duty that night. It has been reported that the guards assigned to watch Epstein were asleep and failed to conduct the required checks on his cell. This level of negligence is deeply concerning and has fueled speculation about the possibility of foul play. It was homicide. There are reports of falsified records suggesting a potential cover-up. The guards allegedly falsified log entries to make it appear as though they were conducting regular checks when, in reality, they were not. This deliberate attempt to deceive raises serious doubts about the official narrative and adds to the growing belief that there may be more to Epstein's death than meets the eye. The autopsy results have also contributed to the skepticism surrounding Epstein's cause of death. According to compelling evidence put forth by the renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, who was hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother to investigate the circumstances surrounding his death, the injuries sustained by Epstein are not consistent with a typical suicide by hanging. In his extensive experience, he has never seen injuries like those found on Epstein's body in cases of suicide by hanging. One of the key factors that caught Dr. Baden's attention was the way Epstein's neck bones broke. Typically, in cases of hanging, the hyoid bone, a small U-shaped bone located in the neck, is fractured. However, in Epstein's case, not only was the hyoid bone broken, but there were also fractures in other bones in the neck. This is highly unusual and suggests a different cause of death. Furthermore, Dr. Baden noted that the injuries on Epstein's body were more consistent with those seen in cases of strangulation. Strangulation involves external pressure being applied to the neck, which can result in broken bones and other distinct signs of trauma. These findings raise the alarming possibility that Epstein may have been murdered rather than taking his own life. One theory proposes that Epstein's death was an assisted suicide, with someone helping him carry out the act. This theory suggests that Epstein, facing a lifetime in prison and unable to bear the consequences of his crimes, sought assistance in ending his own life. The involvement of others in facilitating his suicide raises questions about who may have been complicit and what their motivations were. No discussion of Jeffrey Epstein's death would be complete without delving into peculiar conspiracy theories involving the Clinton family. These theories suggest that the Clintons played a role in Epstein's demise, and that his death was orchestrated to protect their reputation and prevent damaging information from coming to light. One theory suggests that Epstein possessed incriminating evidence against the Clintons, evidence that could have exposed their alleged involvement in his criminal activities. According to this theory, Epstein's death was a carefully planned operation to ensure his silence and protect the Clintons from potential legal consequences. He is alive. One of the most shocking aspects of Epstein's alleged suicide is the series of failures and irregularities that occurred within the MCC. The security cameras conveniently malfunctioned on the night of his death, leaving no visual evidence of what transpired. Adding to the intrigue, Epstein's cellmate at the time of his death was Nicholas Tartaglione, a former police officer and accused murderer. Tartaglione, a hulking figure, seemed an unlikely companion for Epstein. Some have speculated that Tartaglione may have been involved in Epstein's demise, either as an accomplice or as a means to silence him. But let's not forget about the infamous Epstein Island. Located in the Caribbean, Little St. James Island was Epstein's private paradise, where he allegedly engaged in illicit activities with underage girls. The island itself is shrouded in mystery, with reports of underground tunnels and secret rooms. Some believe that Epstein may have used these hidden spaces to escape and fake his own death. Furthermore, the official autopsy report has been met with skepticism. Some experts question the findings and suggest that Epstein's death may have been staged. Could it be possible that Epstein's body was replaced with a look-alike? After all, Epstein had the means and connections to orchestrate such an elaborate scheme. In fact, there have been reported sightings of Epstein since his alleged death. Drone footage captured a man resembling Epstein on his private island, leading to speculation that he may have faked his death and is now living a life of anonymity. While these sightings have not been verified, they add fuel to the conspiracy theories surrounding Epstein's fate. One theory that has gained traction is Epstein's alleged ties to Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. Some believe that Epstein may have been working as an intelligence asset, using his connections and influence to gather compromising information on influential figures. This theory suggests that Epstein's death was staged to protect those involved and allow him to continue his covert activities. He blackmailed Bill Gates. In a shocking report from the Wall Street Journal, written by Hadija Safdar and Emily Glazer, disturbing allegations have emerged regarding the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates. According to the report, Epstein may have attempted to blackmail Gates over an alleged affair with a Russian bridge player named Mila Antonova. The timeline of events begins at around 2010, when Gates first encountered Antonova, a young Russian bridge player. Epstein, who also knew Antonova, allegedly became aware of Gates and Antonova's affair and saw an opportunity to exploit it. Fast forward to 2017, Epstein contacts Gates and demands reimbursement for expenses he claims to have incurred on Antonova's behalf, including paying for her to attend a software coding school. It is important to note that Gates was married at the time, adding another layer of complexity to the situation. Epstein's motive for the blackmail attempt appears to be his desire for Gates to participate in a multi-million-dollar fund that he was trying to set up with JP Morgan Chase. Gates's refusal to engage in this venture seemingly prompted Epstein to resort to threatening to expose the affair. While the exact contents of the email sent by Epstein to Gates remain unconfirmed, the implications are clear. Epstein was attempting to leverage compromising information to coerce Gates into complying with his demands. Gates's spokesperson, in a statement to the Wall Street Journal, acknowledged the alleged blackmail attempt and Epstein's efforts to leverage compromising information for personal gain. This confirmation adds weight to long-standing speculation about Epstein's ability to manipulate and blackmail powerful individuals. The Wall Street Journal report also sheds light on Gates's previous attempts to downplay his relationship with Epstein. Prior to this revelation, Gates had denied any substantial connection to the disgraced financier. However, the report reveals that Gates had met with Epstein, discussed potential business ventures, and was acquainted with several of Epstein's trusted associates. One such associate was Boris Nikolic, a confidant of Gates, who was named as Epstein's executor of his estate. Nikolic has since expressed regret over his association with Epstein, condemning his criminal behavior and expressing sympathy for Epstein's victims. The fallout from this revelation extends beyond Gates and Epstein. It raises broader questions about the power dynamics and relationships within the world of the wealthy and influential. Epstein's ability to gain the trust of powerful individuals, such as Gates, and manipulate them for personal gain highlights the vulnerabilities that exist even among the most successful and accomplished individuals. His associates. There's a name in Epstein's Black Book that does not automatically imply involvement in any illegal activities. However, it does raise questions about the nature of their relationship and the extent of Epstein's influence. Chris Rock, known for his sharp wit and comedic genius, is a household name in the entertainment industry. But what could possibly link him to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein? According to the Daily Mail's findings, Rock's name appears in Epstein's Black Book, suggesting a connection between the two. While this revelation may come as a surprise to many, it is crucial to approach this information with caution and avoid jumping to conclusions. Epstein's Black Book contains a trove of never-before-seen emails and documents that shed light on his extensive network of connections. It is within this context that we explore the association between Epstein and Chris Rock. Epstein's Black Book serves as a window into his world, revealing the extent of his connections with celebrities, politicians, and business tycoons. It is within this web of associations that we find Chris Rock's name. While the Black Book Book alone does not provide concrete evidence of criminal activity, it does raise important questions about the nature of Epstein and Rock's relationship. Was it a mere acquaintance, or was there something more sinister at play? There are also said to be connections between Epstein and the billionaire entrepreneur Richard Branson. The charismatic founder of Virgin Group is known for his ventures in the business and entertainment industries, but what could possibly link him to the notorious Jeffrey Epstein? As I mentioned earlier, the presence of a name in Epstein's Black Book does not automatically imply involvement in any illegal activities. However, it does raise questions about the nature of their relationship and the extent of Epstein's influence. While the Black Book alone does not provide concrete evidence of criminal activity, it does raise important questions about the nature of Epstein and Branson's relationship. Was it a casual acquaintance, or was there a deeper involvement? His island. Another thing we cannot ignore is Jeffrey Epstein's abandoned island. There is an enigmatic blue-striped building that stands out amidst the lush greenery. This peculiar structure, resembling a temple with its golden dome, has sparked countless theories and speculation. According to some people, this building was believed to be a music room where he would showcase his talent as a classically trained pianist. However, others have theorized that there was more to this temple than met the eye. They speculated that it housed a hidden elevator, transporting people to a secret location beneath the island's surface. To shed light on this mystery, a contractor who worked on the island shared his insights. He dismissed the possibility of an elevator, stating that it would be highly unlikely to have such a feature inside the building. However, he did take note of something peculiar about the temple's entrance. As the contractor observed, the door to the temple was secured with a massive piece of wood, serving as a giant lock. This raised eyebrows and led to further speculation. What makes it peculiar, the contractor remarked, is that if the intention were to keep people out, the locking bar would be placed inside the building. But in this case, the bar appears to be placed on the outside, as if it were intended to lock people in. It seemed to confirm the eerie atmosphere surrounding the island and Epstein's intentions. The presence of such a structure on Epstein's island raises numerous questions. What purpose did it truly serve? Was it a mere music room, as some claim, or did it conceal a hidden chamber beneath its surface? And why would Epstein go to such lengths to secure the temple, seemingly trapping people inside? These unanswered questions only deepen the intrigue surrounding the island and its owner. The temple stands as a symbol of the secrets that lie hidden within its walls, waiting to be uncovered. It was a well-known fact that Epstein had a penchant for treasure hunting. He would reward his employees handsomely if they stumbled upon something of value during their time on the island. The rewards ranged from a few dollars to $1,000, depending on the significance of the find. Epstein's staff became avid treasure hunters, scouring the island's nooks and crannies in search of hidden gems. They would often come across old rum bottles, plates, and other dishware that previous inhabitants had left behind. These artifacts, remnants of a bygone era, held a certain allure for Epstein. But what drove Epstein's fascination with treasure hunting? Some speculate that it was a way for him to escape from the reality of his criminal activities. It offered a temporary reprieve, a chance to indulge in a more innocent pursuit. Others believe that Epstein saw himself as a modern-day pirate, seeking wealth and power through illicit means. Regardless of his motivations, the treasure hunting aspect added another layer of intrigue to the island's already complex narrative. It painted Epstein as a man driven by a thirst for adventure and a desire to uncover the secrets of the past. What his workers know. Epstein had a network of workers who witnessed his disturbing lifestyle firsthand. Let's look at some of their shocking confessions. Let's start with Epstein's infamous Boeing 727, aptly nicknamed the Lolita Express. This luxurious aircraft was more than just a means of transportation for Epstein. It was a flying playground for his perverted desires. According to reports, the plane was meticulously designed to cater to Epstein's every whim. The floors were padded, ensuring maximum comfort for his guests. Monogrammed tissues, wet wipes, and bottles of baby lotion were stocked on board, leaving no doubt about the nature of Epstein's intentions. The Lolita Express could accommodate up to 29 passengers, and among those who flew on it were some of the most well-known names in politics, entertainment, and royalty. Former President Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, actor Kevin Spacey, comedian Chris Tucker, and supermodel Naomi Campbell were just a few of the individuals who boarded this aircraft. But the shocking truth is that the Lolita Express was more than just a luxurious jet. Prosecutors allege that it was used as a tool for Epstein's sex trafficking operation. The plane would transport his victims between his various mansions in New York, New Mexico, Paris, the US Virgin Islands, and Palm Beach. Epstein's chief pilot, who had been with him for years, admits that he knew there were minors on board the plane. However, he insists that he was unaware of the atrocities that were taking place while he was in the cockpit. On the other hand, Epstein's second-in-command pilot testified in 2009 that he witnessed Epstein, Prince Andrew, and a 17-year-old Virginia Roberts flying to Epstein's private island. But what has become of the infamous Lolita Express? Today, it sits abandoned beside a runway in Georgia. The once luxurious plane is now a decaying reminder of the dark secrets it carried. The carpet, bedding, furniture, appliances, and even the wet wipes are now molding inside. True extent of JP Morgan's involvement. What made the Epstein case even more scandalous were the allegations that many famous and influential people were aware of his activities and may have even participated in them. From politicians to businessmen to celebrities, it seemed that Epstein had cultivated a network of powerful individuals who turned a blind eye to his crimes. While some have denied any involvement or knowledge of Epstein's illegal activities, others have faced scrutiny and public backlash. One of the most recent and explosive allegations involves Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks in the world. It is claimed that Dimon knew about Epstein's sex trafficking activities and may have even facilitated them through JP Morgan. The allegations against Dimon came to light during a hearing in the Virgin Islands case against JP Morgan. The bank has been facing multiple lawsuits alleging that it facilitated Epstein's sex trafficking scheme by serving as his bank of choice for over a decade. In a 3.5-hour hearing, a lawyer for the Virgin Islands government revealed the existence of emails suggesting that money transfers from Epstein were pending Diamond review, referring to Jamie Dimon. What makes these emails even more significant is the timing. The email in question was dated August 2008, just months after Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to soliciting prostitution from a minor. This was Epstein's first brush with the law, which resulted in him becoming a convicted sex offender. The fact that Dimon was allegedly reviewing Epstein's account at a time when his criminal activities were known raises serious questions about his knowledge and potential complicity. The scrutiny on Dimon has intensified as the Virgin Islands government has been granted a subpoena to investigate what he knew and when he knew it. This development comes at a critical time for JP Morgan, as the bank recently filed a third-party complaint, blaming one of its former executives, Jess Staley, for any improper actions related to Epstein. Staley, who later became the CEO of Barclays, stepped down due to his ties with Epstein. During the hearing, the Virgin Islands lawyer pointed out the inconsistency in blaming Staley while questioning why Dimon, as the CEO, should not also be held accountable. This raises the possibility that the knowledge of Epstein's activities may have reached the highest levels of the bank. In response to these allegations, JP Morgan released a legal brief denying any involvement by Dimon. They claimed that he did not interact with Epstein's accounts during the relevant period and dismissed the entire case as a bid by the Virgin Islands government to generate headlines. However, a federal judge rejected these arguments and allowed the government to subpoena Dimon, indicating that there may be merit to the allegations. The focus now turns to what Dimon has to say about these explosive claims. As a prominent figure in the financial world, his response will be closely scrutinized. So far, JP Morgan's denial has been the official stance, but the ongoing investigation and legal proceedings will shed more light on the truth. While the current case against JP Morgan and Dimon is civil litigation, it is worth noting that criminal prosecutions often stem from revelations in civil lawsuits. The Epstein case itself started with investigative journalism and civil lawsuits, which eventually led to criminal charges. It remains to be seen if the same will happen in this instance. True extent of Prince Andrew's involvement. Prince Andrew's association with Epstein began in the early 2000s, and the two were often seen together at various social events. Epstein's connections and wealth provided Andrew with valuable opportunities and access to influential people. Epstein's private island, Little St. James, became a notorious hotspot for the rich and powerful. It was here that disturbing activities took place, as Epstein was accused of running a sex trafficking ring, exploiting underage girls for the pleasure of his influential friends. In 2015, Epstein's dark secrets were exposed when he was charged with sexually abusing a minor. Despite the charges against Epstein, Prince Andrew continued to associate with him, even throwing a surprise birthday party for Ghislaine Maxwell at the Queen's estate in Sandringham. The friendship between Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein was tested when Epstein was arrested again in 2019 on federal sex trafficking charges. This time, the public demand for answers and accountability grew louder than ever before. Buckingham Palace, the official residence of the British royal family defended Prince Andrew, stating that he had no knowledge of Epstein's illegal activities. However, the court documents from 2016 formally named Prince Andrew as part of Epstein's sex ring, accusing him of having sexual encounters with underage girls. In an attempt to clear his name, Prince Andrew agreed to sit down for an interview with journalist Emily Maitlis. However, the interview only made matters worse, as he failed to address the serious allegations against him and came across as evasive and out of touch. Prince Andrew denies any recollection of meeting Virginia Roberts, who has accused him of having sex with her when she was 17 years old. He claims that he was at home with his children on the specific date mentioned and that he does not sweat due to a medical condition. He also denies ever being in the company or presence of Roberts. Prince Andrew does admit to staying at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2010 to break off their friendship, but he insists that he did not see any suspicious activities or young girls during his visit. He regrets the trip in hindsight, but believes that his association with Epstein provided him with valuable opportunities. In 2021, Prince Andrew faced legal action when he was sued by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's alleged victims, for sexual assault. The public and the media closely watched the legal battle between Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre. However, the matter was settled in 2022, with Prince Andrew agreeing to pay an undisclosed sum to a charity of Giuffre's choice. Many people expressed their disbelief and disappointment in his actions, questioning his suitability as a representative of the royal family. Despite the controversies surrounding him, Prince Andrew continued to make public appearances. However, his presence was met with protests and calls for him to step down from his royal duties. Buckingham Palace faced mounting pressure to address the allegations and take action. In response, the palace announced that Prince Andrew would suspend his public duties indefinitely. However, the royal family continued to pay for his security due to threats to his life. Bill Clinton is being protected. Among the names that have emerged from the shadows, one stands out prominently: former President Bill Clinton. According to the unsealed documents, Clinton's name appears multiple times in Epstein's flight logs, indicating that he had visited the island on several occasions. These revelations have raised questions about the nature of their relationship and the activities that took place on the island. Clinton has denied any wrongdoing and has stated that he had only taken a few trips on Epstein's private jet, commonly referred to as the Loretta Express. However, the frequency of his visits and the company he kept during those trips have raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about the true nature of their association. While the spotlight has been on Bill Clinton, the unsealed documents also shed light on Trump's connections to Epstein's world, including his presence on the flight logs of the Loretta Express. While the extent of Trump's visits to Epstein's private island remains unclear, the mere association has fueled intense speculation and conspiracy theories. Critics argue that Trump's connections to Epstein raise questions about his judgment and character. Supporters, on the other hand, maintain that Trump distanced himself from Epstein once he became aware of his criminal activities. Mr. Clinton's spokesperson, Angel Urena, mentioned that Mr. Clinton traveled on Mr. Epstein's plane 4 times in 2002 and 2003. These trips had purposes related to the Clinton Foundation's work. On each trip, Mr. Clinton was accompanied by his staff, foundation supporters, and his Secret Service security team. In 2015, flight records published by Gawker indicated that Mr. Clinton had taken around 12 flights on Mr. Epstein's plane. However, a year later, Fox News reported that flight records revealed President Clinton had actually flown on Mr. Epstein's plane approximately 26 times. Everyone already knew that Clinton and Trump were on the list. Bill Clinton keeps denying it because there's no evidence. We have to wonder why they knew Epstein and why they visited his private island. Clinton has a history of scandals involving young girls. We're curious about the DVDs the FBI found in Epstein's safe that show illegal activities and who was involved. If only the public can see things like this instead of the cliché news being published by the media. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.